25. Wilma Mankiller worked for several years as a leading advocate for the Cherokee people and became the first woman to serve as their principal chief in 1985. After leaving office, she remained an activist for Native Americans and women's rights until her death on April 6, 2010 in Adair County, Oklahoma. 24. Born around 1836 in present-day South Dakota, Touch the Clouds was the son of Chief Lonehorn and Stands on the Ground, and brother to Chief Bigfoot. He stood at about 7 feet tall and was known for his incredible strength and skill on the battlefield. He became the chief of the Mini-Conju Teton Lakota and kept his position until his death on September 5, 1905. 23. The Mohawk Indian chief Tyandaneга, also known as Joseph Brant, served as a spokesman for his people, a Christian missionary of the Anglican Church, and a British military officer during the American War of Independence. He is remembered for his efforts in unifying Upper New York Indian tribes and leading them in terrorizing raids against patriot communities in support of Great Britain's efforts to repress the rebellion. He's also credited with the establishment of the Indian Reservation on the Grand River in Canada, where the neighboring town of Brantford, Ontario bears his name. 22. Tecumseh took part in a series of raids of Kentucky and Tennessee frontier settlements in the 1780s and emerged as a prominent chief by 1800. He transformed his brother's religious followers into a political movement, leading to the foundation of the Prophetstown settlement in 1808. After Prophetstown was destroyed during the Battle of Tippecanoe, the Shawnee chief fought with pro-British forces in the War of 1812 until his death in the Battle of the Thames. 21. Interestingly, in 1614, Squanto was one of the first Native Americans to travel to Europe when he was kidnapped by English explorer Thomas Hunt, who brought him to Spain, where he was sold into slavery. He escaped, eventually returning to North America in 1619, where he aided the Pilgrim settlers at Plymouth, until his death in 1622. 20. Sitting Bull was a Teton Dakota Indian chief under whom the Sioux tribes united in their struggle for survival in the Great Plains. He joined his first war party at age 14 and soon gained a reputation for his bravery and skill in battle. In 1868, the Sioux accepted peace with the U.S. government, but when gold was discovered in the Black Hills in the mid-1870s, a rush of white prospectors invaded Sioux lands. He once again fought bravely, but was arrested and killed in 1890. 19. Chief Joseph was a Nez Perce chief who, faced with settlement by whites of tribal lands in Oregon, led his people in a dramatic effort to escape to Canada. When the U.S. attempted to force the Nez Perce to move to a reservation in 1877, Chief Joseph reluctantly agreed. However, after the murder of a group of white settlers, tensions erupted again, and Chief Joseph tried to lead his people to Canada in what is considered one of the greatest retreats in North American military history. 18. Sacagawea was a legendary Indian woman who led Lewis and Clark on their famous expedition to find the Pacific Ocean. She was a Shoshone interpreter and the only woman on the expedition into the American West. In 2000, almost 200 years after her death, she was featured on a dollar coin issued by the U.S. Mint in honor of her contribution to the Corps of Discovery. 17. Born in Nebraska in 1822, Lakota Chief Red Cloud was an important figure in the 19th century land battle between Native Americans and the U.S. government. He successfully resisted developments of the Bozeman Trail through Montana Territory and led the opposition against the development of a road through Wyoming and Montana for 2 years, a period that came to be known as Red Cloud's War. He died in South Dakota in 1909. 16. Very few Choctaws from the early 1800s are better known than Pushmataha. The man who negotiated several well-publicized treaties with the U.S. and led Choctaws in support of the Americans during the War of 1812 is mentioned in nearly all the histories that include the Choctaws. 15. Ira Hayes was a Pima Indian born in Sacaton, Arizona on January 12, 1923. On August 26, 1942, he enlisted in the Marine Corps Reserve in Phoenix during World War II, and a few years later he made history by becoming the only Native American to participate in the famous World War II flag raising on February 25, 1945, on Mount Suribachi in Iwo Jima.